I will present on behalf of my students about the web user experience for Apache Junction visitors. And we're located on the Polytechnic campus, but the class is completely online. We have students from multiple majors, multiple locations within the country. They're graduate students, and the class is 7.5 weeks. So we have a very condensed form for this class, which can be challenging, but also very exciting. And we actually were done with the project in early October. So I'll start with a little bit of background about user experience. User experience is a person's perceptions and responses to the interaction with a system, a product, in our case, the website. And the background, the whole idea of user experience is that sometimes when we design something, right, a website, what we have in mind, like the staircase, is not how users actually end up interacting with it. So if user experience is great, we don't really see it because things run smoothly, and our goal is to study it to make sure that things do run smoothly. So we usually start with a goal, right? As we discussed over the summer, working with ajcity.net to inform potential visitors about positive attributes of the city and to encourage them to come spend time and money in the city. So we take this as a goal and have a process of first learning about the users, right? Once we know about the users or potential visitors of the city, the users of the website, we ideate. So we brainstorm for ideas of how we can make things better. Once we have that, we build prototypes or improved versions of a website. And once we have the prototypes, then we do a lot of testing because we want to make sure that what we created is actually better than what we started with. So, and the mantra of the class is to know thy users, so we use a variety of methodology. And the students in the class are graduate students, so they can pick from the available methods anything like content audit, or sounds a lot scarier than it is. It's pretty much auditing all of the text, the content, the visuals, the videos you have on the website, so you create a database. Then comparative analysis, where you look at websites of towns in a similar location or of a similar size. We look at web analytics. We conduct usability tests where we would have a representative user sit, we give them a goal or a task, show them the website and tell us, so what are you gonna do, right? And we watch them interact with the website. We can use surveys, interviews, or card sorts. And card sorts are a method that help you figure out the intuitive information architecture of the website. So I'll jump right to the findings. So the best way to think about user experience of the website is a bucket of goodwill. The idea is that when somebody comes to a website, they're really interested, right? They want to find some information, so they come with curiosity and a full bucket of goodwill. And our idea is to keep them interested, to make things useful, efficient, so they can accomplish the task with a reasonable timeline, right? And they can actually have a positive interaction. So what the students in my class found is that the website currently has two very prominent features that are really filling up this bucket of goodwill. It has good visual appeal, and it has very attractive video that talks about the city. This is what the users are saying. At the same time, as with all websites possibly, we have several features that empty the bucket of goodwill. So not finding what I'm looking for, right? The information is missing. Or having a perception that there is too much information because it doesn't relate to them. It takes too long to find something. Sometimes users get lost. They don't know how to go back or where they are on the website. One of the most frustrating features is being redirected, especially on a smartphone. So having to go outside of the actual website to find more information about the specific attraction, for example. Having to use search function when they cannot something. And the most evil, all the users said, having to go out and use Google because I couldn't find something. And the last but not the least is having the website not displayed correctly on a mobile device. So these are the findings. And I'll go back to the recommendations and just very bird's eye overview. I had 15 students, each one of them wrote something, right? So I'm just gonna go through the most common points. And the idea of the recommendations is to go back and fill up this bucket of goodwill, right? Make things intuitive, make things run smooth. So I think the most common thread was having a simpler navigation categories for visitors. right? Something that is very minimalistic. When visitors click on the tab Visitors, they have very few options to choose from. And the most intuitive navigation categories that the students identified were lodging, dining, and things to do. And under things to do, calendar of events, shopping, attractions, or facilities. That's it. Nothing else for the visitors, so they cannot get lost. Snippets of information about areas' attractions. For example, talking about Lost Dutchman Trail, a little bit of information about it so they don't have to go outside of the website to read up more. Not too much, but just enough. Working links, making sure that there are no broken links, and in their reports, students actually offered really inexpensive or free possibilities of software that would do this kind of work for the website, so you don't have to do it manually. Easily searchable calendar of events, especially for the winter season, so you know what's going on in the city and around the city for specific months, for specific categories of users. Sortable information about lodging and dining, where you would be able to look at, is it a fast food place? Is it appropriate for a family? Can I bring my dog with me? Right? Sort, sort, sort. Only information that's relevant from visitors' points of view. And this is a very tricky point because you have to put yourself in the shoes of the people who might consider coming to the city. And for example, having persistent navigation, that's typically a great idea, but can be confusing because the visitors were looking and saying, well, I don't want to adopt a pet. Why is it there for me? Right? Or I'm not really interested in the taxes, the sales taxes. I really want to see where I can go shop, right? So from their perspective. And mobile-friendly and responsive design, thinking through minimalistic ideas, having something like a hamburger menu or responsive web design, or something that we found out, users who were accessing the website on regular computers, they found the downloadable PDF about the calendar of events and events in the city useful, but people who were doing it on a mobile device couldn't work with this because PDF was cumbersome and they had to try to enlarge and go back and forth. And updated keyword search, so that if you do keyword search, you actually get the information you're looking for. So once the students compiled the recommendation reports that you will see, there were 5 of them because they worked in teams, they also created personas or visitor archetypes with their goals and tasks, right? Why they can come to a website, why they might be looking for information as potential visitors, with scenarios or stories of how potential visitors interact with a website. So, and we had multiple personas, anybody from a hiker from the valley who might want to go to Superstition Mountains, right, and look for information, to a snowbird, like this example, Janet the Curious, a retired nurse from Minneapolis, who is checking for places where she can spend her winter, to her kids who come to visit over the holidays. So the idea of creating personas is to be better able to relate, thank you, to how users interact with the website again. And the idea of having a scenario is to actually be able to create prototypes. For Janet, for example, Janet the Curious, who was looking for hiking, age-appropriate hiking in Superstition Mountains, and also a little bit of history on the town. We have a prototype of a different, updated version of the website. Let's see. Looking for a museum or some information about the history. So Janet would come to the website, look for things to do, right? Most likely a museum would be an indoor activity. So she would find the Superstition Museum with a little bit of information about it, right? So 4 clicks and she was able to find the information. Another one would be looking for age-appropriate hiking in the Superstition Mountains. And here we have a very minimalistic, mobile-friendly design, where Janet would come to the website, click clearly on the menu, lodging, dining, things to do. Well, hiking is probably in things to do. Okay, outdoor, right? Right, and also with 5 clicks, she's able to get access to the maps, tips for hiking in the desert, and again, sort by area. So these are just the ideas of prototypes of how different parts of the website can be improved to make the interaction run smoother and be more intuitive. So, and I think this is it. Thank you.